That's a pretty high horse you got there. I don't ride horses, but thanks. Tell me you're a sociopath without telling me you're a sociopath. Hi guys, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and my bed. So we're back in bed, which means we are going to complain. This is a continuation of me complaining about things while in bed. I'm in bed because I feel like it kind of, maybe calms me down a little bit. Although the last video I did, I was definitely not calm, so we'll see what happens today. Somewhat recently, I've been getting into TikTok and I've been posting some videos on there, and some of them, maybe a little controversial, maybe a little sassy, some sassy videos. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, it's Cheap Lazy Vegan, of course. Yeah, I also feel like I've been kind of sheltered by the YouTube algorithm because I feel like with YouTube, I've had my channel for a while, so I have a specific audience that watches my videos, and I don't think it really gets out into the mainstream public, if you will. People watch my videos if they already watch vegan content, which means they're, pretty aware of veganism. So it kind of filters out a lot of stupid comments. So I feel like I've been, a little bit sheltered from getting really, really dumb comments. And then I joined TikTok. And I don't really know how the TikTok algorithm works, but it's kind of random. So I feel like a lot of random non-vegans might find my videos. And on TikTok, to be fair, I do kind of get a little sassy at times, and because you only have that 1 minute, there's only so much you could say in that minute, so you really can't provide so much nuance to each video. So I try to get the main points across, and sometimes to the untrained ear it might sound very aggressive, maybe because people are already conditioned to believe that vegans are very aggressive and preachy. Yeah, so basically that's my fancy way of saying that I get a lot of really stupid comments on TikTok. So I thought it'd be fun to answer some of these on a video. So let's get started. So maybe I'll show the TikTok that I did that people are responding to before I respond, okay? So here's one. This one, people got really pissed off with this one.
Oh my god, there's a video of a girl yelling and spitting on her dog. That is the most disgusting thing you've ever seen. There's a special place in hell for people who abuse animals. Go die, you should burn in hell. My comment got 100 likes. I feel good now.
Hey, you wanna go to McDonald's? I kinda want a Big Mac. So just to explain myself in this video, the purpose of this video was to illustrate the hypocrisy of people being so vocal and basically giving death threats to animal abusers, and people just being very, very vocal and basically canceling people for abusing animals, yet they can't see their own hypocrisy because they're still financially contributing to pretty much every industry that still abuses animals and also still gets mad at vegans for being preachy. So that was kind of my overall purpose of that video. And let's see some of the comments. You need to learn about targeting systems rather than blaming the consumer. It is not their fault and veganism barely helps. So I did respond to this actually on TikTok. This one is less of a hate comment, I guess. So I do understand that yes, it is very much a systemic issue that we have going on. It is not just a personal issue, but it's a systemic issue. We have a huge systemic problem with our food system. So much of it has to do with greed, capitalism, and all of that jazz. So I do agree that it's not as simple as just everyone needs to go vegan and everything's gonna be fine and all that stuff. However, that being said, every single other social justice movement or any other movement toward a better world pretty much started from a grassroots level, as in a bottom-up approach, getting people to understand first and foremost the problems and the injustices that have to do with that specific practice, and then ultimately getting more and more people to understand, making that idea more mainstream, and thus creating more change at the top. For example, feminism, the civil rights movement, gay rights movement, all of those things started from just people being can we just have some rights, please? So that's how it all started. Ultimately, that led to a change in public perception and a change in public attitude and opinions, and that led to more change on a systemic level. So to say that, oh, people are not responsible and that people should not have any responsibility or feel guilty at all for anything is just simply false. That's not how you change the world. As much as I do understand, and I definitely am a proponent of also, don't hate the player, hate the game type of mentality, I also don't think that it completely erases any sort of responsibility or accountability that we each have, especially when we have the power to do something about it. My main point when I talk about all these things isn't actually to get people to go vegan immediately. It's more so to change people's perception and their mind and their mindset, to recognize their own hypocrisy, because I think that's where it all starts. Like, you have to understand your own hypocrisy and understand, what's going on. You have to change the attitude. Right now, the attitude is, oh, vegans are crazy and what we're doing is completely fine. So until we change that attitude, we're not going to see any change anywhere, personally or systemically. So that's it. All right, next. These are two very different situations, and comparing them does not help or make veganism look any more appealing. Ugh. Yes, they are two different situations, but you're not understanding what I'm trying to do here. Ultimately, it's about animal abuse. It's about animal abuse in two different ways. Okay, so one instance, there's a video of a girl yelling and spitting on her dog, and the world is outraged. Everyone is outraged. This is the worst thing ever. This girl is canceled forever, and she's the most evil person on earth. And then in the same breath, you say, I'm gonna go and have a McDonald's, a cheeseburger. I'm gonna go and eat and pay money to get something that has been abused. I'm gonna go and pay money for a product of animal abuse. So yes, it is different, and I understand that it's different, but at the same time, like, do you not at least see the hypocrisy is what I'm saying. You don't have to equate. The thing, people don't understand analogies. Like, I don't get why people don't understand what an analogy is. They're not equating things, okay? Just because you have an analogy doesn't mean I'm equating two things. Oh, these two things are exactly the same. That's not what I'm saying. I'm making an analogy of animal suffering and animal abuse seen in such different light. Let's also talk about the fact that, we're talking about billions of animals being literally like killed, tortured, and then like one dog being kicked. And again, I love dogs, guys. I'm seeing a dog being kicked is like, no, that like pierces a knife through my heart. But let's just have a little perspective here. People literally give death threats to people that are seen kicking a dog. Kicking a dog, not even killing, not even, kicking and spitting on a dog. Yet they come up with every excuse under the sun to continue to pay for the killing of other animals. Does that make sense? So yeah, they are two different situations. One is talking about kicking a dog and one is talking about killing. So yeah, they are two different situations. You might want to invest in a saddle. That's a pretty high horse you got there. My response, I don't ride horses, but thanks. I just love when people have no argument, nothing to say, and they just say, you're on a high horse. Like, get off your moral high ground. I'm like, you didn't come up with any counter argument. What's your counter argument? What is that? Tell me. I'm listening. Ooh, this one. This one. Some animals are meant to be eaten, though the systematic slaughter we see in today's meat industry is something I cannot agree with. Some animals are meant to be eaten. People just make the most ridiculous arguments. Like, it shocks me. It shocks me the extent of which people will go to defend this type of thing. Some animals are meant to be eaten. Who decided that? Who decided that? We decided that. This is not written in stone, okay? Some animals are not meant to be eaten. We just decided certain animals are for food and certain animals are not. That was just something that was decided upon us by society. And that doesn't mean that it's written in stone, and it doesn't make it okay because human beings decided it. So, and also, like, the idea that simply because they were created for a specific purpose that their well-being doesn't matter, that we can just treat them however way you want. There's a movie called Never Let Me Go. It came out in 2010. It's actually a really, really good movie. It's about this dystopian future where you have this boarding school. So it starts in a boarding school with a bunch of children, and you soon find out that these children are clones. They're actually clones, and they were cloned for a specific purpose. And that purpose was to give organ donations to other human beings. So they were cloned in order to be organ donors. So when they become adults, they actually start giving away their organs involuntarily. They don't have a choice in the matter. And they give away all their organs until they die, because you can't survive without your vital organs. It's really sad. In that context, in that movie, these human beings were created for a specific purpose. They were created to be clones. They were cloned for a specific purpose. They were created as a means to an end. They were created to become organ donors, and they wouldn't exist otherwise. right? They wouldn't exist otherwise. They were created for that specific purpose. But they're also human beings. They are sentient beings. They feel pain. They can suffer. They want to live just like everybody else. They have specific personality traits. They have thoughts of their own. They have emotions. All of those things that, every other human being experiences, they also experience. So then, is this practice moral? The practice of cloning human beings to be our organ donors, to basically carry organs for us, just to donate to rich people or sell to rich people, I guess. Is that moral? Simply because they were created for that purpose, is that okay then? Because they wouldn't have existed otherwise and they were specifically created for that purpose, does it make the practice okay? It doesn't. It wouldn't. So I hate when people make this argument like, oh, certain animals are just created to be food. They were just made to be food. It's like, no, we decided that. We bred these animals into existence. I'm saying that we need to stop doing that so we create less suffering in this world. It's ridiculous. It doesn't excuse, the abuse and the torture and the torment that you put these animals through just because they were meant to be food. Ugh. Seriously, some of the comments on TikTok, I just want to die. As part of the vegan community, we do not claim people like you. Okay, bye. I don't understand this type of comment. We don't claim people like you. Why do I need to be claimed? I don't want to be claimed. And if talking about actual things that matter triggers you, then why are you even vegan? It's different when you abuse animals for no reason and when you eat animals. Animals eat animals too. Oh God. Again, an analogy is an analogy. It is not an equation. I am not equating two things. I'm not saying two things are exactly the same. And yes, it is different when you abuse an animal for no reason. But also, why don't we also look at the impact, the result? What is the worst outcome? A dog being kicked or billions of animals being killed? Which results in worse outcome? Yes, intentions matter to some extent, but then we're gonna pretend that we need to eat and slaughter billions of animals per year when we've already discovered that eating so much animal protein is actually bad for our health and we should be eating less anyways. We're gonna pretend that this is good for us and that we need to continue this practice. I mean, and animals eat other animals too. Oh, gotta love it. Haven't heard that in a while. Animals eat other animals too. Love it. Love that for me. Animals eat other animals. Yes, they do. But also, we hate being compared to other animals in literally every other context, except in the context of wanting to eat meat. In that case, compare me to animals all day long. All day long. It's normally seen as such an insult, oh my God, you're such an animal. To the point where people don't even want to use the word murder to describe what happens to animals when we kill them. We don't want to say murder. Oh, unless it's for a dog. But for any other animal, we can't say murder because they're not human. And we can't even use words that are the same to describe what happens to human beings versus animals. So animals, it's slaughter, not murder. It's slaughter. And we hate comparing ourselves to other animals. But in the case of wanting to eat animals, everyone wants to be compared to animals. How funny is that? How funny is that? So let's talk about the whole animals eat other animals argument for a second. We've already decided that we are going to live differently than other animals, which is why we actually, live very differently from other animals. We don't live in the wild anymore. We live in houses, inside buildings. We have heating, we have air conditioning, we have computers, we have a bed, for God's sake. We have cameras, and we have a legal system that says that we can't behave in the same way that other animals behave. Otherwise, we'll be locked up. Okay, we have a certain moral code in our society, technically. We have a legal code, we have a legal system that we follow because we're human beings. We don't subject other animals to that same moral code because we have decided that animals don't have moral agency, aka they don't know the difference between right and wrong. So we're supposed to, as adult human beings that have a normal cognitive function, we're supposed to know the difference between right and wrong and make decisions to live our lives in the right way, right? So we've decided this. We have a certain moral code. We have an ethical code that we live by, correct? So why is it that the species that supposedly has this moral agency and this ability to know the difference between right and wrong, why is it that we're doing the most harm? Why? Why is it that we are, killing the most amount of animals? Why is it that we are inflicting the most amount of suffering? Why is it that we are literally ruining this planet for everybody, even though we supposedly have moral agency? It's really sad because as a species that knows, that kind of has an understanding of morality, you'd expect us to be, the most moral of all, but we're not. So that's one interesting factor. So we've already decided that we're not going to live like other animals. So let's, you know, you got to pick a lane. You can't just be like, oh, I want to be compared to animals in this way, but then we abide by a different set of rules in this way. Which one is it? Do we want to live like other animals and have no legal system? Or do we want to live like the morally superior beings that we are, or that we claim to be? Let's at least try to meet that expectation that we put on ourselves. We already think that we're better than other animals, so at least let's act like it. Let's act like it. But we don't. But we don't. And also, like, you know, animals kind of need to eat other animals to survive, you know? They kind of like are in the actual wild. If we were still out in the wild and we were actually like hunting and gathering and there's no buildings and no grocery stores and no hospitals and all that stuff, and we were living in some kind of anarchist world, then yeah, there's no morality, there's no, you know, we can do whatever we want, right? If we collectively decided that there's no like point of even having a discussion about morality, we're just trying to survive, survival of the fittest, all that jazz, and we got rid of all these systems and all these things, then yeah. But we didn't decide that. We decided that we want to live as like somewhat moral creatures. We've decided that we have a certain set of rules that we want each human being to follow. So maybe we should, you know, have a higher standard for us. Maybe, just maybe. Oh God. What's next?
Tell me that you care about your pigs without telling me that you care about your pigs.
Listen, I don't really like doing these responses or calling people out, but I am just so sick and tired of this f***ing b****. This woman works for the pork industry, an industry that's sole purpose is to kill pigs and sell their meat for profit. And the audacity to go on TikTok and talk about how much you care about these pigs that are about to be f***ing slaughtered inevitably. Imagine if a dog meat farmer went on f***ing TikTok and talked about how much he just loves dogs. Who is buying into this? Okay, so this video was actually a response to this woman's TikTok account that I found, and I think she was a veterinarian or something for the pork industry. So it said something about how she works for the pork industry in her profile. But she does these like videos where she showcases all these pigs and acts like she's like, you know, taking care of them really well. And it's just psychotic. There's like kind of, it's like a trend I've seen on TikTok. There's a few accounts that I've seen like this where basically it's like, oh, look at me, how much I love these animals. Oh my God, like these animals are so cute, and just like showcasing how cute they are, even though they will literally kill these animals. It's already bad enough that you're gonna kill these animals, but then doing this psychotic thing where you're trying to get people to like think that you are in love with these animals that you're going to kill, is psychotic. It's psychotic. Tell me that you care about your pigs without telling me that you care about these pigs. First and foremost, I don't kill pigs. That's how I can tell you that I care about pigs. I just don't get how you can like with a straight face tell yourself that you care about these animals when you know that you are literally working for an industry that will kill these animals for profit. How can you even pretend to care? Just don't even pretend. Like, I'd rather you just not pretend. It's more psychotic when you pretend to care, you know? Let's see one of the responses here. Well, she can still love the pigs and give them the best possible life until it's time for skull face, little disturbing. I would prefer a happy pig over a mistreated pig. How about we just don't kill the pigs? I would prefer a happy victim versus a mistreated victim. I would rather just kill a happy person than a really tortured person. I'd rather, you know, not abuse the dog before I kill the dog. Like, you know, people act like this is necessary. Like, that's what like gets me. They act like this is necessary. They act like artificially breeding these animals to be our food when it's not necessary is somehow necessary. I prefer if you didn't torture them before you kill them. Okay, yeah, I mean, I prefer that too, but I also prefer that you don't kill them. That might be, you know, one way of telling if you actually care about the pigs or not. Oh my God, did you guys see the news? That dentist guy that killed the lion? Yeah, it's like so disgusting. I mean, what kind of psychopath? I hear he's getting death threats, and honestly, he deserves it. I mean, who kills an innocent, beautiful animal like that?
5 seconds later.
Oh God, look what Katie just posted. I get it, you're vegan, congratulations. I can respect that you're vegan and that you care about these issues, but like, Why don't you just mind your own business? Like, why do you care what I do? Let me eat my bacon in peace. Thank you. It's not about not being happy for the choices of others. It's how some vegans preach about it. Okay, if you witnessed something bad happening, right? Someone being abused, killed, tortured, something bad happening, right? What have you been taught to do? Sit there, walk away, watch what's happening and not do anything? Is that what we have been taught to do in society? No, it's not. We have been taught from an early age when something bad is happening, if somebody's getting bullied, if somebody's getting hurt, whatever it is, if there's a victim, you speak out against the oppressor, you speak out against the person that is bullying, you speak out against it and you try to help. But apparently, that's not the case when it comes to veganism. That applies to everyone except vegans. If you're a vegan, don't say anything. Even though you see all of these things happening, you see all the problems with these industries that are literally doing this with billions of animals, and you can't say anything, even though we've been taught literally the opposite. If you see something happening that's bad, you have to help them. If you see someone that's being abused, you have to go and do something. Is that not being preachy? Are you being preachy when you're doing that? Is that preachy? To be like, there's animal abuse. No, you're not preachy unless it's a dog that's being abused. But if it's a cow, then you're being preachy. All right, guys, I think I'm just gonna do a couple more because I have to look out for my own sanity. There's nothing wrong with eating what you want. Why people so worried about what other people are doing? Literally in any other context, everyone is minding everyone else's business. Anytime there's somebody that abuses a dog, everyone gets up in that business. Why? Why do you think that is? Why do people get worked up when somebody abuses animals? Is it really that hard to understand? These types of comments never fail to amaze me, that I have to explain this to grown people. Now, I'm just assuming that these people are grown people. Maybe they're teenagers, but is it really hard to get it through your head that it is not about your personal choices when your personal choices have a negative impact on others, on other sentient beings? That's why you give a shit when you see a dog being abused. That's why you give a shit when you see children being abused. That's why you give a shit when there is suffering, because it impacts other sentient beings. That's the point, okay? I don't care what you eat, but if it negatively impacts or kills, yeah, that is a cause for concern. That is a cause for concern. And again, in any other context, we're supposed to care about these things. But when it comes to veganism, no. Vegans have to shut up. We have to just mind our own business. Don't mind what anybody else does, even though this isn't just about my own personal choice to be vegan. This is about an issue that is a worldwide global issue that is impacting billions of animals and also our environment. So it is our business. Stop pretending that we don't live in a society. We live in a society. We all rely on each other for our survival. We are not just individual beings with individual choices. Yes, there are certain things that don't matter. For example, what color shirt you wear, what kind of hairstyle you have, who you want to love as long as you are consenting adults, whatever. That doesn't matter to me, okay? But when there is a victim without a voice in this scenario, yeah, that's when it matters. Why is that so hard to understand? Seriously, why is that so hard to understand? Is it really that hard to understand? Someone please tell me why that's hard to understand. Okay, one more. Meat is eaten by every single culture, race, ethnicity on Earth since forever. You can't change our natural diet. Our anatomy is still the same. Gotta love this. First of all, appeal to nature much. This is called appeal to nature fallacy, where it's it's natural, therefore it must be good. There's a lot of things that we did in our past, in our history, that would be deemed as unethical. We are also living literally the furthest away from the natural world that we possibly can live. And also, in order to feed the amount of people we have on this planet, the amount of animal products that we eat on a daily basis, it is impossible to do without factory farms. Factory farms are not natural. Factory farms do not come from nature. We never had factory farms to begin with. And meat was very rarely eaten because it was hard to find. In nature, when you are hunting and gathering, you're not going to be eating 3 hamburgers a week. Things have changed. You evolve with change. You have to adapt to change. Eating animals the way that we're doing right now, in the numbers that we're doing now, is anything but natural. We did not evolve to eat animals in this way. We did not. Simple as that. We're not living in the natural world anymore. Why are people pretending that we're living in some kind of natural world? We have literally 8 billion people on this planet to feed, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to eat animal products like this. So we have to change. We have to adapt with the times. It's not like it was before. Stop trying to do this whole, oh my God, we grew up eating meat, so we have to eat meat. No, let's do one more. I think I have the strength for one more. Okay. Whew. Okay. Nah, I don't see it as wrong. Animals are here for us to use. I don't care if I fit someone else's moral code. Wow, tell me you're a sociopath without telling me you're a sociopath. Gotta love it. I mean, at least he's showing his true colors. At least he's not like pretending to care. Animals are here for us to use? Really? How are we so narcissistic? I'm genuinely impressed at how high we think of ourselves. And then people tell us vegans that we are on a high horse, even though we don't ride horses. But you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, vegans, like you're on such a moral high horse. I'm like, really? Us saying that we shouldn't consume animals because they actually matter and we actually care about their well-being, like that's us being on a high horse? That's literally the opposite. We're literally saying, let's like not harm anybody. Let's just like, you know, be nice to everybody. That's literally the opposite of being on a high horse. You know what is being on a moral high horse, or, you know, feeling morally superior? People thinking that they can just use animals for whatever they want, however they please. Oh, animals are just here for our purpose. Animals are here for us to use. How's that for a moral high horse? Like, come on, really? How did vegans get the reputation that they think they're better than everybody else when we are the ones saying that we shouldn't think that we're better than everybody else because of a thing called speciesism, which is basically where human beings think that they are literally better than every other species on this planet for no actual reason. That's just the story that we've told ourselves for so many years. How are the people that are against that sort of philosophy and that mindset, how are those people deemed as being on a moral high horse? It's so mind-blowing to me, you know, the kind of mental gymnastics that you'd have to do to come up with that conclusion just because we're saying, hi, this is wrong. Taking a very obviously wrong thing and saying it's wrong is supposedly being on a moral high horse. Yeah, that's the society we live in, and this is why I hate everybody. And that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you want a part 2 of me reacting to dumb TikTok anti-vegan comments. I don't know how often I can do these for my own mental health and sanity. But you know what? It was kind of fun. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok so we can fight against these people. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!